Hi guys, Courtney King again, CNS Services. So this part is going to be about drawing the girdle line. So what I do is I just take right on the edge of my machine with my Sharpie and I just lean it right there, and that's just going to keep my hand steady. So when I draw the line, so I'm going to take it, I'm just going to draw a line all the way around the rock where I want the girdle line to be. So all the way around, making sure it stays even all the way. And it's really just that simple. So now you can see we've got a nice even line all the way around that rock. And that's what we want to see. Okay? Then we're going to put it on the dop stick. In order to do that, what I do is my dop station. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to put, I've got my wax melting, okay? So I use red wax, red jeweler's wax. You can use any wax you want. I prefer red jeweler's wax. Some people will use super glue, some people will use Elmer's glue, some people will use green wax. I prefer the red wax. So it's melting, it's not quite ready. Probably ready enough that we can make it work. But before I can actually put it on the dop stick, what I have to do is I have to take, this is a mixture of shellac and denatured alcohol, which you just pick up from your local Home Depot. On the back side of my stone, I'm just going to put a little bit on the back. Sorry guys. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit on the back, and I'm going to set it there on the top of my dop station, and that is going to melt or get the stone warm. If I don't get the stone warm, it's not going to stick. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. But it will stick much better when it's warm. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute or so. And once that's warm and the wax is melted, then I'm just going to take and I'm going to put some wax on the stick. I'm going to stick it to the rock, and then I'm going to let the rock set. And then we can actually move on to our actual cutting and grinding up the stone. So it's a little bit of a process to get, to the point where you're actually doing the fun part, but that's okay. So I'm just going to keep testing the stone and see if it's warm. It doesn't take long. All right, so what I have here is I've got several different sizes of dop sticks. So I've got my, my little smaller dop sticks, which is going to be for my smaller cabs. And then I've got some larger ones for the bigger cabs. And I've got different lengths as well. I used to prefer the longer lengths. Now I'm getting to where I prefer a little bit of a shorter length. And I just get these at Home Depot. I just go in to get their little dowels and cut them down to the length that I want. And that seems to work. All right, so the rock's been sitting here for about 1.5 minutes or so, and that should be quite long enough for it to be, and my wax is a little bit better melted now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna twirl my dop stick in the wax, and I'm gonna get, a dop of wax on the end of my stick. I'm gonna take the stone, I'm gonna turn it over, And I'm just going to stick it to the stone, just like that. Now, if you haven't done this, it is hot. Some people will put water on their fingers to cool it off, which works just fine. I used to do that until my fingers got a little bit more calloused. All right, now, when you put it on the dop stick, what you want to try and do is you want to try and make sure it's even on that dop stick before the wax melts or dries. Right, so as even as it can be. And that's fairly even. All right, then you got to let it sit for a couple minutes until that stone cools off and the wax really sets. So I put it over here in my little thing, which is just play sand in a Tupperware. And that will sit there for a few minutes until it cools and we can go to the cutting process. So that's your next steps. All right, so I'm going to turn you off and I will be back with you in a few minutes.